If you wanted to know what the heck is the Fanatic for, you are listening to the right episode. I'm your host, Steve Kiles. We are brought to you by the Mortgage Marketing Animals. And today, let's be clear, I got my best friend, Carl White, with us. What's up, baby?
Good to see you, my man. I love these episodes with you, brother. I'm just telling you, it literally so makes my day.
Man, I love the richness of our conversations, and I reached out to you, and I'm like, we've got to be talking about the Fanatic 4. This is something that you and I were talking about. I don't know, man. It is just so important as people are thinking about their business, and they're thinking about growth, and they're thinking about, how do I get back? You know, Carl, it's the question everybody's asking. How do I get back to my 2021 numbers, 2020 numbers? Well, we got it. It's the Fanatic 4. So who better to talk about it than Carl White? Hold on. The host of the #1 podcast for loan officers in America. And that is the Loan Officer Freedom Podcast, founder of the Mortgage Marketing Animals, has one of the largest and most productive, well-run branches in the entire United States. And so, Carl, I want to hear about the Fanatic 4 and what you're doing to help people understand the major areas to focus on in your business.
You know, one thing, you know, you're always so kind when you introduce me, and I really appreciate it. It's all true. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's all true. No, but I want to make sure, and I'm not just doing this because it's nice, it's the truth.
Yeah.
So you're right. I do have one of the top branches, but brother, you have so helped make that happen, that you're the things that you teach us all on how to run a branch and how to bring value to the loan officers and how to help them have a structured day and what does that team look like and who does what. I really learned a lot from you. So you've got a class act branch over there of your own. So we're at different branches, right? But man, I have been copying you like a bandit, and you really have some good stuff. So I sincerely appreciate you helping me have one of the top branches in the nation. So it's yeah.
That's that iron sharpens iron, man. That's why I love these calls and conversation. Talk to me about this Fanatic 4 you're talking about.
All right. So the Fanatic 4. So I'm going to tell you a real quick story.
Okay.
So I was about 25 years old.
Okay.
And I got one of the best lessons I ever got in business sitting on a trash can. So let me tell you how it worked. I was a butler for a very, very wealthy man. And he had a Rolls Royce. He didn't drive. He said he was too old to drive. So I drove him around here and there. And we really developed it was more like an uncle-nephew relationship we developed, right? It was really, really cool. Anyway, so we went, if I remember right, we went to one of his hotels, grabbed lunch. I don't remember that part, but anyway, we drove back and we get out of the Rolls, and he got out, I got out, and he goes and kind of sits on the, man, I remember this so well. He sits on the front fender of his Rolls Royce, Silver Ghost. And he said, Carl, he talked kind of funny, you know, but he said, Carl, almost like a Ross Perot, if you remember Ross Perot, you know, kind of that, you know, but he was just a super guy. He said, Carl, grab a chair. I want to talk to you about something. Well, there was in his garage. There wasn't a chair there, right? So there was a trash can. So he told me to sit down, my butt's sitting down, right?
Yeah.
So, and I'm not going to sit on he can sit on his Rolls Royce.
Yeah.
I'm not sitting on his Rolls Royce. So I pulled up a little trash can and I sat on that. He said, let me tell you something. There's 4 things that you always want to measure. And so his was slightly different. So I'm going to tell you what his was. He says, you always want to measure how many customers are coming in your store.
Yeah.
How much are they buying? How many hours are you working to make all that happen? And most important, how much money did you save doing it? Right? Because it's not about closing a ton. I remember talking to a loan officer not too long ago, and this cat needed to close 27 loans just to break even. Like he had built up such an overhead, 27, that's a high bar just to stay open, right?
Yeah.
So measure how many customers are coming in your store, how many are buying, or how much do they buy?
Yep.
How many hours did you work to make all that happen?
Mm-hmm.
And how much money did you save? And that was it. He said, that's it. Let's go inside. And
that's it. We're done.
That's how he talked, man. It was just like these bombs, you know?
Wow.
And it wasn't until later on in life that I started remembering this. Actually, this one came to me not too long ago
This
I
was just
was,
like a 60, 90 days ago. Yeah.
I was talking with a buddy of ours, Todd, and he said, Carl, there's really four things that we
Yeah.
measure in our mortgage business.
Mm.
And it's how many leads are coming in, how many
Yep.
people are coming in your store, right?
Yep.
How many
Yep.
leads are coming in,
Yep.
how many of those leads turn into closings. In other words, how much did people buy? They turn them into
Yep.
closings. How many hours did you work? How much money did you save? And soon as he said that, I went, dude, that was the trash can conversation I had so many years ago, probably, I don't know, 37 years ago. And I had really thought of that story until he mentioned it. And I went, dude, that was George on the trash can. Yes.
Yeah.
And so we want to measure four things. And we call this the Fanatic Four, because you want to be a fanatic about these four things. How many leads came in? How many of those turned into closings? How many hours did you work to make all that happen? How much money did you save? And I would almost reverse those, that how much money did you save is the most important part of it.
Okay.
And then I would look at how many hours did I work to make all this happen? How many leads came in? How many closings did I have? Okay. But if I got a lot of leads and not a lot of closings, I either have bad follow-up or I'm fishing in a muddy pond.
Yes.
Right.
Or your process is broken, if you're not able to close for commitment. Here's what's interesting about that, Carl, because the more we've talked about this, and that's what I love about our conversations, it's a wrestling back and forth. Here's what it's an extreme. Like, you've got extremes of people that want to measure 22 different metrics on 14 different scorecards to figure out what the direction of the organization is going to be. But we have to learn to live at what we call a strategic level. There's two meanings you have in your business. You got to think about strategic is 30,000 feet. Operation is details. And as business owners and loan officer, is this strategic or operational? And there's a time and place for both. If you want to look at your organization in a very quick 30,000 strategic view, it's, hey, where are my leads? Am I getting enough leads? What's going on with the leads? Then you move into closings, because just like you said, if I got a lot of leads and no closings, it's scripting, it's the source, it's my process. It could be I'm not closing for commitment, but you know where the gap is. And now you get to go operationally down deep to fix the problem. And that's what I love about the Fanatic Four. It's such an easy way to get the health of your organization quickly. I love that.
Yeah, I think sometimes we overcomplicate things and we make it so hard that it's not, we avoid doing it because it's too hard. So if I open up my tracking form and it looks like the owner's manual to flying the space shuttle,
I'm in trouble.
I for sure am in trouble, because I've, I used to think it was a curse, but I've learned it's actually a blessing. I've got what's called, this is a real thing, I've got what's called a low complexity ceiling. Like, things have to be easy for me, right? They can't have 50,000 different steps, which, I'm kind of known for, like taking complicated things and simplifying them.
Simple. Yeah.
And it's out of necessity, right? I got to do it, or I can't follow it. And what I found oftentimes by doing this stuff is we can eliminate a lot of steps and get the same results. Well, and now in less hours, because there's less steps. So we can do those steps that actually work way more often, because it doesn't have 50,000 steps to do it in. And I don't dread doing it, because I'm not, figuring out, some calculus algorithm trying to figure out how do I get my next lead in.
Yeah.
Come to find out, it may be just as easy as picking up the phone and asking a simple question to the right person. And when you know who to call and what that question is, that converts into leads, that convert into closings, and it doesn't take a lot of hours to do, and I do enough of them that I'm saving a lot of money. Yeah, man, why throw in all these complicated? You got to do that. You got to do this. You got to do this. You got to do that. I got to go, teach 5,000 classes at the real estate office. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with teaching, teaching classes at real estate offices, but what if you could get the same amount of leads without doing that? Like, what would that look like?
Yeah. Hey, and when you're talking about this, I think first off, you got to put it on your dashboard, or what we call a scorecard: leads, closings, hours worked, money saved. So you said that you would, like, let's say, I've never heard that. It's an aha for me, Carl. You're coaching me. I'm looking at it. I'm saying, okay, now I'm going to track these. You would say, first off, how much money are you saving? Like, walk me through, like, I've never really considered it. Now I realize, okay, it's something I need to consider. What do I do? First things first.
Well, I would say, and why I would do that first is, Steve, why do you want to close more loans?
There you go. So it's the desired result. Hey, listen, I want to live a life of freedom. I want my kids to go to private school. It's going to take me making $30,000 a month, $20,000 a month, whatever
That's
it is.
All right. Now that we know what the number is, now we can reverse engineer and figure out how many, what's your lead to closing ratio, which is so we want to make real sure when we're measuring leads, understand that there's three basic kind of leads. You need to make sure you're working the right one.
Yep.
So there's a referred lead, which we find closes about 1 out of 4.
Yes.
So let's say to make your extra, what'd you say, 30 grand?
Yeah. Well, let's use the number we've been using. Let's say, what was it? 18,000, 6 loans a month. I got to get to 6 loans a month.
All right. So we want to make 18,000 at 6 loans a month. So then we go, well, how many leads do I need to get 6 loans a month?
Yeah.
And so if I'm running Facebook leads or I'm buying Zillow leads, they run about 1 to 2%.
That's
right? Conversion rate.
Yeah.
So that means if I want to close 6 more loans, I need somewhere around
700 leads.
Yeah. Ooh. Like 600-700 leads.
Yeah.
And then I got to work through all those. I got to buy all those and I got to work through all those.
Yeah.
Right. And the problem with the major problem with the low converting leads, like Facebook leads or Zillow leads or things that you buy, the problem with those is by the time I got to sort through 98 people, 99 people to get that 1 or 2 yes. Dude, I don't know about you. By the time I get to number 24, I'm like, what do you want? And I'm the one making the phone call. Right. So it's like, because I'm already fried. I've been beat up 24 times here. And so that doesn't work for me. It's just negative mojo. The other kind of lead is like a Google search lead where they're searching you out on Google. These actually convert pretty well. Like there's a guy in our group, the Freedom Club group, that he's got those converting at somewhere around like 15%.
Yeah,
a much better number. So it's 1/15th, the effort of doing a Zillow lead or a Facebook lead kind of thing. But the best ones is a referred lead. A referred lead, whether past database, my favorites is real estate agents.
Relational referred lead. A lead that is coming by a recommendation.
Close at 1 out of 4, so 25%. So now I go, all right, if I want to close 6 loans per month, 6 times 4 is 24. I just need 24 leads. Now, what do I need to do to get 24 leads for the month? Because when I get 24 leads, I make 6,000. When I make 6 closings, when I make 6 closings, I make my 18 grand. When I make my 18 grand, my kids go to the private school. I get to do this. I get to do that. Like whatever those things you want to do. And my favorite, by the way, is the realtor referral, only because 67% of all the loans close with the loan officer, the real estate agent referred.
Hey,
let me say that again.
Say that again.
67% of all loans that close close with the loan officer that the real estate agent referred. So why would I go after the 33% where I'm swimming upstream when I can go with the 67% that also has the highest closing ratio of any other way to get a lead? Why would I do anything other than that? Makes zero sense for me. I see people like, well, I want to learn how to get loans without real estate agents.
Or divorce attorneys or CPAs or tax preparers, which is fine. If you're closing 30 loans a month.
The 33% that convert less than 25, less than the 1 out of 4.
Yeah.
So now I have to get more leads, more expense, make more phone calls, weed through, pull more credit reports, have more overhead to close less loans. Why would I do that? It doesn't make any sense to me. I'd love to like a good, honest debate with somebody that thinks something else. And I'm not saying this snarky. Like I'd love to have a debate with that person. Man, I'd
find
love.
out. Maybe there's something we're not seeing.
I saw a guy on YouTube. He goes around with these signs that says, "Prove me wrong," and he comes up with this idea, and you come up to him in a cool way, right? Totally cool. You come up with him, and you give your debate of why you think he thinks X and you think Y. Prove him wrong. And you know what? Sometimes people do, right? So I'd love to learn a new way, but so far, 67% of all the loans close away. that gives me a highest percentage of closing ratio.
Yeah.
Somebody give me another reason to do something else other than that, and I'd love to hear it, right? Or my loan officers working in my branch, why would I have them going after the 33% that closes at a ratio of 2%?
Yep.
Why in the world would I have them do that? Doesn't make any sense.
Well, hey, and I'll tell you that your branch is ours is spot on with the same number. We're 30 right now, running 30%. I run it every.
Yours is better than mine.
No. Well, but that's what we coach to as well in the mortgage marketing animals. But I just have to, like, it works. That number, our year to date is right around 31%. It's been as high as 32, 33.
I need to go hang out in your office one day.
No, I'm not.
No, I'm being dead serious, dude. I'm at 20. No, wait. No, this is.
I was saying that to validate. It's
you're too
1 in 4
humble.
for sure.
Stop being humble just for a second. Here's the message: if somebody's kicking your butt, go hang out with them, find out what they're doing.
Yeah.
Right. No, I'm being serious. Dude, I'm at 25 and you're at 31. You're doing it better
30,
than
31.
us.
Yeah. Hey, well, and I'll tell you, I love that because you start with the money saved because it tells you, and that's how easy you dissect what you need to do. 24 leads will yield 6 closings, makes you 18,000. How would you address the hours worked? You know, I hear it both ways. I know in the Freedom Club, our whole deal is we do what we do in 32 hours a week. Our goal is to help you find freedom. Somebody's, again, brand new, first time they're hearing this, they're working 60 hours, Carl. What do they do? How do they bite that down? How do they understand how to find a level of coolness and freedom in the mess or chaos that they're currently in?
Well, it's a paradigm shift because, see, they think more hours work makes more money.
Talk about that.
I'll tell you right now, you will not out earn me by working more hours. You will not. Let me say that again. You will not out earn me by working more hours. I will spank you every which way but loose because you're tired, you're wore out, you're the defense in the last 3 minutes of the fourth quarter, and I'm sitting there on your 10-yard line. You're not going to win that battle. If I'm brand new, fresh, I come on. If we could bring a whole new team on in the fourth quarter, and they're playing against a team that they've been there all 4 quarters, my fresh first quarter team will spank your butt. Listen to this. Even if you're better, if you're better, because I'm not saying I'm better than you. I'm not saying because I'm not.
No. What I keep thinking, and our audience needs to understand, this comes from a man who's making 7 figures a month, and that's where it's like you're 100% right. The thing you just said should unlock everyone who's listening, because you know what, Carl, it's what you challenged me with last year. It was the biggest epiphany I had last year. Was I kept saying how, and it was never a how, it was always a who, and I didn't understand the power of. Oftentimes, what you're doing has got to be alongside other people. It doesn't mean you may be by yourself originating loans, but your first thought is, how do I make my first hire? By putting a few dollars in my pocket, a few dollars in my business, and delegate and move. And with my newfound freedom, I go prospect, follow a plan, execute it every day. I make a little money, put it in my pocket, make a little money, hire somebody, keep on moving. And it's just the power of it. We thought, man, how do I get to 50 loans a month? Well, I can't work any more hours. Wrong paradigm. It never is more hours worked. That's so good.
It's not. So for me, it's like just getting, which is another story. We don't have time today, but basically somebody told me when I was working on getting my hours down, he told me just to get a red marker and just mark Saturday off, Sunday off, after 5 p.m. off. Like we just wrote off on the calendar. He said, all right, now you got to go figure out how to make that work. But you're taking the time. You have to leave at 5 o'clock.
Yes.
So then I had to start looking at, well, wait a minute. I'm not leaving the office until 7, 8 o'clock some nights. And I'm definitely working Saturdays and Sundays. Now I can't. So now I had to do some soul searching. All right, what am I doing that's actually working? And I was amazed at what I could take off my plate that had no effect whatsoever.
Hey, and so to clarify, like that's a great story. What you did was you just looked at your calendar and you took a red marker and you marked it off. It's non-negotiable. So
see, the mistake people make, Steve,
Yeah.
Is they go, you know what? As soon as I figure out how to do that, then I'll take it off. And that's not what you do. You go, this Saturday and Sunday, I'm
off. Not available.
Now, how does the rest work? And it took a little while. I'm being honest, just be transparent. It took a little, it didn't take me a little bit to take Saturday and Sunday off. It was the next Saturday and Sunday, right? It was that weekend I took off.
Hey, and when things break, and they will, you don't go back to the old way. You keep working to figure it out.
Yeah, you become so much more. I became so much better, more efficient, and mainly, I just stopped doing a bunch of crap that just what. Come to find out, going on Facebook and liking a bunch of realtors' posts. Come to find out, that didn't
Move the
actually do
needle.
anything.
Yeah.
And it just made me like really focus my time, and every hour mattered. Did you know the president of the United States, whoever the president is?
Yeah.
I saw a thing. I'm not going to mention the president because it's with all of them
Yeah.
that their schedule is on 30-second increments.
Wow.
So they got it timed, and obviously each president's a little different, but they got it timed. How long does it take him to go? If he's going from the Oval Office to the helicopter, what is that time? And they got everything mapped out in literally 30-second increments. And when I heard that, I thought, all right, here we have the most powerful person likely, possibly on earth, right? And their schedule is on 30-second increments, which, by the way, and whoever the president is, they take a lot of vacations, right? They do.
Yeah.
Right. Trump did, Clinton did, Bush did, Obama did, Biden did. And hell, they earned it, right? I'm okay with that. Like, I'm not complaining. They take a lot of time off, like a lot of time. Yeah. And those that play golf, when they report, how many golf games they played, it was more after becoming president than before coming like literally before coming, like true story, right? And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying because they structure their day so well,
tightly,
that they maybe this is a horrible example. Maybe I should have left off the president thing, but they've earned the right to take that time off.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
hey, well, it goes back to this quote I heard: if you steward the minutes, the years will take care of themselves. Yeah. And it's about when you put the red marker through and that's no longer available, you just find a way to get it done in less time. You become more resourceful, you become more effective. You start asking, is that busy or is that effective? What's the result? Can that, it's amazing. You find out a lot of stuff we're doing didn't move the needle. It just kept us busy. Hey, it goes back to what's that law? I think you've taught me this. Like, if I got 10 hours a week to process 2 files, or I got 10 hours a week to process 10 files, I'm going to fill it up with the same amount of time. And there's a principle around that you will get done in the amount of time you allot yourself.
I call it the term paper rule. You give me a semester to do a term paper.
Yeah.
Brother, on the last day, I'm working on that term paper. If you give me 3 days to work on that term paper, brother, it'll be done in 3 days. You give me 3 hours, I'll have that done in 3 hours. Like it's just
the way it is.
Yeah. But for me, like this thing of like, what do I do and what don't I do and what do I take off and what's not necessary? It's real easy for me. All you got to do is look at each activity you do, and then ask yourself one simple question: how many leads did this bring in last month? Doing this activity, how many leads did this bring in? So the old thing of I'm getting my name out there, I'm getting to know people, I'm networking. Dude, so awesome. Good. At that networking event, how many leads that come in the last 30 days doing that? And then that tells me this is the activity I'm doing going forward. And it's shocking, or it was for me, on how much stuff I could take off my plate, because I was lying to myself. Oh, not lying. I was fooling myself that doing the, and I'm not going to give examples because somebody else might be doing that activities working for them. So awesome, right? But all these different activities I was doing that just, like for mine, it was a lot of the networking groups,
Yeah.
And I'm not going to name them because some of them are awesome, I'm sure, right? But some of these networking groups, it was just for me, it was a colossal waste of time. So,
well, hey, that's the result. How many leads came in the last 30 days from doing that? That's a powerful question. Activity. And a lot less than we think. So,
yeah.
Hey, okay. So
one last thing I want to do just real quick.
Do it.
The saving, make sure you're saving 25%, like of your 25% of your take home pay. So after taxes, if you could take that check and take it to the bank and cash it, the dollars they give you, save 25% of that. And you think, well, yeah, I can't do that right now.
Work up to it
anyway. Do it anyway. Figure out what do you got to do.
Yeah.
Do it anyway. I'm telling you, and I know you've heard me say this before, and I could go back and kiss me on the lips for putting myself in the position I'm in today, at least financially. Yeah. And actually, I want to give credit where credit due. In my case, it was a lovely Mrs. White that's just an amazing saver. Now, we still go do things. We still have fun. We still have a lot of fun. But in the early days, we found out, frankly, we had just as much fun holding hands down at the lake as we did spending epic amounts of money doing things, right? So now we hold hands doing epic things because we saved money. And work is now optional for me, which is a wonderful place to be, because now I do it because I simply want to, not because I have to. So save your 25%. I don't care how old you are, your 25%. I don't care how old you are. I don't care how young. I don't care how many loans you're closing. Figure out how to save 25%. Figure out how to live on the 75%, whatever you're making. Because at one point in your life, you were living on 75% of what you're making, right? I don't care what you're making. At one point, you were living on less than 75%. So do that again, save your 25%, and it's a game changer. So
game changer.
It's a Fanatic 4.
So the Fanatic 4, leads, closing, hours worked, and money saved. And if you want help with that, you say, man, I'm listening to this. I'd love someone to help map this out strategically, step by step, help me put it together. Go to freedomplanningcall.com, freedomplanningcall.com. Myself or one of my team members would love to jump on a 45-minute call and help you map it out. This is what makes the difference, and it sets the course of your next 12 months. And so we want to be a part of your story. We want to equip and empower you to have the months and the years like we've had the last several years. You can have your best month ever next month. We want to help you. freedomplanningcall.com. Carl White, thank you for being here. I just love the insight and the thought behind it. And I hope if you're listening today and you say, man, this was so good, would you share it with 3 other loan officers that you know need to hear what Carl and I talked about? Share it right now, like literally pull your phone out, hit share wherever you consume content. And while you're there, give us a great review. We'd love that. It helps us in the rankings and get the word out. So wherever you heard it, give us a review, and then make sure you subscribe. We've got great episodes coming out every week. Thank you for being a part of the journey. Thank you for allowing us to be a part of your story and being a part of this together. So remember this, anything worth doing is worth doing badly. Just get started. See ya.